Hey everybody, it is Professor Parish and welcome back to English 109. We're on week 2. So like I said, this semester is going to go by really quickly. So hopefully I'm recording this on Sunday. Hopefully you have completed the discussion forum and the other activities for week 1. I know there's a lot for week 1. And if it makes you feel better, as we get closer to the end of the semester, I like to front load the first part of the semester because I like to front load and give us a lot of assignments at the beginning. And then once we get down to the end of the semester where things usually are more hectic in your other classes, things will slow down a little bit. So that should give you some relief. Like, we're going to have a lot to do these first couple weeks, but it's going to slowly progress. And I think you'll find the workload get a little bit easier as we go. So that should hopefully make you feel better. If you're like this first week, you're like, wow, that was a lot. These first couple weeks, we will have a lot of assignments. But then as we get into July, things will ease up a little bit. So hopefully that will make you feel a little bit better about everything because I do know there's a lot to cover, right? So again, if you don't have the textbook yet, make sure you've got it. We had a lot of assignments that used it this first week and that's not gonna stop. So make sure you have the correct textbook. It is free to rent from our bookstore Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 p.m. So make sure you go and rent it for free. Should not be hard to get at all. But I do want to go over the modules for this second week here. And talk about what we're doing for week 2. So if I click on the Module 2 guide, the English skills chapters in our textbook are chapters 3 and 4, which is pages 61 through 120, and chapter 11, which is pages 245 to 258. Chapter 11 is about cause and effect, and then chapters 3 and 4 are just about writing. Now, that seems like a lot of pages to read, but honestly, like I said with week 1, you don't have to read these all word for word. You can skim through these chapters and just pick out the bold terms, the terminology that's in bold that the chapters talk about. That terminology is things that are going to show up on your midterm and final. But most of the stuff you'll find in our textbook, most of the parts of these chapters are all examples. They're just examples to give you that go over the terminology and things in practice. It's not like a full, 60 pages of reading by any means. And then the assignments for this week, there is our discussion forum, the textbook and grammar review activities, and then the writing prep for cause and effect. So we'll go ahead and talk about the discussion forum for this week. After you've read chapters 1 through 3 in our English skills textbook, then these questions should be pretty easy to answer for this week. Question 1 is, have you ever used any brainstorming techniques that the textbook discusses, such as listing or clustering? And explain your answer whether you have or have not. I'm a lister. I have a planner here right beside me. I have a list of things I do each day, and I check them off as I go, or I highlight them, I get rid of them. I am very much a list taker, and that's how I get things accomplished. I just have to have a list that I go through. But some people are not like that. So if you're not like that, that's totally fine. I'm just curious to know, what is your strategy? What do you do to basically get things done? Or when you write and you organize your thoughts, do you list? Do you cluster? What techniques do you use? Number 2, what is the hardest part about writing for you? Why is it difficult? Everybody has some part that they struggle with in terms of writing. For me, it's always getting started. It's organizing my thoughts and getting started. Once I get in a rhythm, I'm fine, but it's getting in that rhythm. That's what I struggle with. And so I'm curious to know what is difficult for you. For me, outlining has helped a lot for me to get into a rhythm, because before, if I just started a paper, I really had to think about it. And then once I got going, I was okay. But the bigger the papers got and the more complex they got in college, the more I had to rely on an outline to get me started. So I'm curious to know what you all do in terms of that. And then number 3, what is the importance of specific details? Why does a piece of writing need these specifics? And is there any type of writing that perhaps wouldn't need specific details? So our textbook talks about specific details in chapters 3 and 4. So I'm curious to know, where do you think there's a place where they're not needed? Why are they important? Why do we need them? That's the answer for number 3. So the discussion forum should be pretty easy to answer this week. They're all just questions based on the readings. Should not be too hard to do. I'll go ahead and go to the textbook activity number 2 and show you all it. These are on pages 87 through 91 in our textbook. And so you'll basically go through, and I think these numbers are correct. I've gone through the textbook. I'm pretty sure the numbers are correct for this part. If not, please email me and I'll double check everything. But primarily, you're just going through, and for each line, you're writing if it's something is specific or general, a specific detail or a general detail, right? And you're just doing, there's going to be a passage in the textbook in activities 14 and 15. And with each line, you're going to tell me which one was specific and which one was general. All right. And so there's going to be, like, for paragraph 1 in activity 15, there's a line for each of them. All right. And then there's directions for activity 16. For examine the topic sentence and add 3 supporting details. You're just adding supporting information. Should be pretty cut and dry. These are all about determining what is a specific detail and what is just a general overall detail in writing, which is pretty important, right? Because you need both, right? You don't want something to be too general, and if you have specifics, you need like a general detail to help be the foundation for it. So that is the textbook activity. The grammar review should be correct. I sent you all an email about the last grammar review because I had it from our previous textbook. This one is all talking about commas. So you're going to rewrite the sentences, placing a comma after the final word and completing the sentence. And then conjunction, what's your function? Activity 3, like what is the conjunction that joins each sentence? Is it and, but, or, therefore, however? What is it? You write it there. And then activity 4, you're rewriting the sentences, placing the comma after the final word and completing the sentence. Activity 6, you're doing a semicolon and the correct conjunction. So is it like semicolon however, semicolon and, semicolon but, like what is it? And then activity 8 on page 439 talks about a logical dependent word. So there's a box of words that will go in the sentence for numbers 1 through 5. And then for the last part, you're just taking 2 run-on sentences and correcting them. So you're basically doing a period in a capital letter, a comma, and the conjunction words there, and any dependent words such as although, because, or when. So that is the grammar review number 2 there. It's worth 40 points, or 30 points. So it's worth 30 points. So there's a lot of points dedicated there. If you have questions, just make sure to email and ask me about them. And then finally, we're going to talk about the writing prep for our first paper. Our first paper is a cause and effect. And so the writing prep itself is mainly for you to tell me your topic and to give me a brief outline. So your topic is just what are you writing about? What cause and effect topic are you writing about? You can look up cause and effect topics, but I've had a lot of students do various different ones. I've had some students do cause and effect like, what is the cause of obesity? What are the effects of it? What are the cause of smoking? What are the effects of smoking? What are the causes of... I've had a student do like, we have high gas prices right now. So what's the cause of high gas prices? What are the effects of them? So you can do lots of different things and do a cause and effect paper over them. But I want to know what your topic is and then a brief outline to show me what points you're going to talk about. So in our guidelines here, it tells you, it should be chapter 11, by the way, not chapter 10. So there is a correction there. Should be chapter 11, not chapter 10. But basically with your paper, it needs to be 3 pages long. 3 pages, double spaced. It can be longer, but it needs to have an introduction and conclusion, talk about your topic, talk about the points, and then have, if you use any outside resources, you'll have to use a works cited page, but I don't know if you will or not for this. I'll talk to you in your papers about them as we go. But you can kind of see how the points are broken down. You have 10 points for the introduction and conclusion, 20 points for the paragraphs, 15 points for spelling and grammar, and 5 points for page length and formatting. So your outline should look kind of like this for the writing prep. It should be your introduction, your thesis, which is your topic, and the points you're going to talk about. So let's say if I did higher gas prices, if I did gas prices as my cause and effect, my first point might be one cause is the Ukrainian-Russian war. That might be cause number 1. Point number 2, I might talk about oil reserves and the lack thereof. Point number 3 may talk about like the push for electronic fuel dependency. And so for electronic sources, I might talk about that. And then I may have an extra point that's like, what are the effects? So then I would talk about the effects at the end of the paper. And so I just need to outline my points, what I'm going to talk about, and it can be pretty bare bones. Like it can look just like this, and your points just have listed what you're going to talk about. It does not have to be crazy developed. My goal with this outline is to keep you from having the 2 a.m. Sunday night syndrome. And what I mean by that is I know a lot of students, you like to procrastinate. I've been there too. And you want to wait till the last minute to do your paper. And you're like, oh, it's fine. I'll chuck it out on that Sunday it's due. And then you get to sit down and write that paper on Sunday. And you're like, what am I going to write about? So the idea behind this outline is to give you a starting point so you don't end up in that situation, so that you have a starting point, you have some place you can go to with this paper, and you can look back and have a outline you can follow so that you don't get stuck on the final day it's due and be lost and not know what to write about. So that's the idea behind the outline. It's not set in stone. You can change it as you go. It's just showing me that you have a plan. The plan may change, but you've got a plan in place to help you write this paper. All right, so that's the writing prep. Should be pretty simple. The hardest part is going to be figuring out what you want to write about. So that's the class for this week. As you'll notice, tomorrow on Monday, this third week will open up, but definitely worry about this week first. But if you have any questions about any of the assignments, please let me know. I try to grade assignments on Mondays and Tuesdays, so I may do a little bit of grading today from like your discussion forums, but most of your assignments I'm going to grade on Monday and Tuesday. So just please make sure you turn your assignments in tonight, that you get them in on time, because once I start grading, I don't take any assignments past the due date. So just make sure that you get those assignments done. And if you have questions, to please let me know. But otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care. And yes, I will talk to you all next week for week 3 of English 109. Bye.